Hi guys, this week is just me. Jess has got COVID, so she can't be coming through, and also Boris has put us back into lockdown again. Very disappointing. I'm disappointed because there's not really that much consistency in the decisions that he makes. He can't seem to make a decision and stick to it. And it seems like there's always someone to talk him into submission and for him to act upon certain things. I don't think the qualities of a leader that we need, mostly with everything that's going on. But that's Boris. This guy can't be asked to even comb his hair, so I guess I can't be that disappointed that he is not really, managing a country the way that he should be, or even in a better way. But that's Boris for you, and he is our prime minister after all. The first, topic of this week is I'm going to be talking about Poet on The Elephant in the Room. It's basically this new show with Chucky Online and Lippy and obviously Poet. And Poet said some interesting things, and I'm just going to be touching upon those things and basically discussing them by myself. Just basically nitpicking everything that he said, and then probably just gonna rant about that, you guys. So basically, the first thing that he said, if I remember from the top of my head, was because COVID hasn't really personally affected him. He's got a dad who's got cancer, and he's got lots of people. He knows a lot of people in his community, and apparently they don't know anyone who's had COVID, and he doesn't know anyone who's had COVID. So therefore, why are we shutting everything down, right? And I thought that was quite ignorant and outrageous, personally, because we can't be acting as if there is no virus and everybody's panicking for no reason, because there is genuinely something that's out there, and obviously COVID-19, and this thing is taking lives on a daily basis, right? And there are families that are losing people. And also, considering the person who was in front of them, right? This guy is a doctor. He's not an MP, right? He doesn't spend his day, in the House of Lords or in the Parliament, right? This guy is a doctor. His job is to save lives. Rule number one. That's it. His first objective is to save lives. So the fact that there's thousands of deaths right now, it means he's not doing not really that he's not doing his job properly. He will feel he needs to avoid this. He needs to do whatever he can to stop people dying, right? Mostly those people that are dying that shouldn't be dying in relation to people, because the guy said about how COVID right now is an adding factor in relation to people that are already in the hospital who have cancer or tumors or any really big health conditions, right? So maybe they've been told, the doctor, they've got tumor and they've got 4 years to live, right? And then a patient comes into the ward and gets put in the same ward, or whatever, not in the same ward, but a person comes in the hospital, they've got COVID, it gets passed around. This patient who has got a tumor, who has been told 5 years, gets it and is dead tomorrow. That's what the problem is, right? Because it's making people who have got health conditions, even some who don't, lose their lives. And like I said, the NHS first job is to save lives. That's what they're there for, right? So whenever we've got a problem we got there because we need them to help us, right? So in relation to that, I was very confused as to what he was trying to say, because it just seemed like a whole lot of words with not really no destination to what he was saying, like just a whole lot of rambling. So I was thinking, okay, cool, I get everything he's saying about the whole Boris, etc., but there's no MP in front of them. This guy's a doctor. He's telling you, wear your mask, all these things, because he wants to make sure there's less people with COVID coming into the hospital, so they can bring more people with health conditions and they can look after them. Even when people will find a lump on them, right? So that they're not scared to come in for a checkup because there's COVID. because most people are just sitting on these problems, and further on, when COVID is gone, hopefully, these problems are going to be major, right? So I was very disappointed in what you're saying, and obviously I agree with some of the points that they raised in relation to the amount of lack of consistency in relation to Boris's statements to the public, which is true, because yesterday Boris said about how certain schools in certain tiers were allowed to go back. So certain kids in certain tiers, well, if their school was open, they were supposed to go back to school, right? And then literally the next day, which is today, this guy says all schools are closed, we're going back into lockdown, the no exams, etc. But I think the exam thing was already in place already. But just my point. So if I was someone who had made genuine plans that would cost me money because of the statement he released yesterday, of course I'm not gonna have faith in the government. But what we have to consider is that there's also, if I just choose to act reckless because I think Boris is a nincompoop, there's a domino effects to that, which is obviously the main conversation that needs to be had, not our personal feelings in relation to Boris, because that's not healthy at all. Do you know what I mean? Because we're thinking about community right now rather than our individual needs, right? Because if we all just did what we want to do, this thing would never go away, right? Because there's already certain countries that have worked together to get this thing under control, and we have been nowhere near that. The economy in itself is suffering because the government has been so inconsistent. And what thing did he say? He also said or mentioned about so obviously when the doctor mentioned the idea of patients who have health issues who are getting COVID and dying, Poet's reaction was, so if I'm getting if I'm jumping on a bus to Manchester, I'm just paraphrasing it, all right? So if I'm jumping on a bus to Manchester, and then I get off, and then I get a taxi to Manchester, I still go to Manchester. So what you're saying is these people are supposed to die anyway, and when they get COVID, are just dying quicker. Mad. No, so this is a man with a platform, and he's saying this thing. And again, bear in mind what I said about his dad having COVID. It's almost like people, like, it feels like this year, people genuinely only are compassionate only when they are the ones in a situation. When you, like, there's no foresight in relation to other people, right? Or in relation to how certain things will affect other people. That doesn't seem to be enough unless a situation affects them personally. I don't think people will ever appreciate. Do you see my point? Like, it's crazy to me that even that was a comment to him, because again, like I said, going back to the thing, this guy is a doctor. His job is to save lives. Yeah. This job is to save lives. So because Mary is, has got, terminal cancer, and she's been given 2 years, and actually got COVID because she died in 2 days, that's okay because she was gonna die anyway. No, because she's got a family, and her family are expecting her to be here and to be looked after for that 2 years so they can make memories and do whatever they need to do. So we can't just, be ignorant and think, they were going to kick the bucket anyway. So why are you making us suffer and going to lockdowns? Because these people have families. But again, don't get me wrong. Like, Boris, what he's been doing right now has been ridiculous, right? I'm surprised he's not getting whiplash in relation to how many U-turns this guy has been doing. is genuinely embarrassing. I think when he got this job as prime minister, he thought it was going to be a vacation, and actually realized he has to do some work. He is not loving it. He's not loving it. If he could quit, he would. Genuinely. Like I said, every decision that he's made, the Labour leader always seems to put him under the thumb for him to make those decisions. That's not a leader. Do you know what I mean? So I genuinely cannot remember a decision that he's made that he's stuck to since he's been the Prime Minister. Brexit, obviously, that's another conversation, but even that oven-ready deal seemed to end up being nothing. The equivalent of Christmas, your mom telling you that, oh, you know, I got you a PS5, and you open the box. It's not even a PS2 or PS1. It's a Game Boy. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. Do you see what I'm saying? So this guy Boris is a liar, like he's so inconsistent in what he does, but for some godforsaken reason he's still the prime minister, so we gotta move with it. But it is what it is. But I'm just very disappointed that the way these guys were speaking was almost like the doctor should have the answers, but he can't have the answers. Like I said, his job is to save lives, and that's his priority number 101. And he needs to make sure that if he can save people, he does so, right? And right now, obviously, way too many people are obviously dying, and it's not for him. He feels like it's not good enough, and he needs to make sure people are doing that part. And when people are saying about how why am I having to go into lockdown, etc., because I don't know anyone who's got COVID. It's not helpful. But obviously, where I agreed with Poet was when he said about he talked about, obviously there's other aspects that are being ignored right now in relation to mental health, with people that are being forced to stay into lockdown, or in these tier 4s, whatever, or tiers that they've invented, and who have lost their jobs, except all these things, right? And 100% get it. 100% get it. But again, this goes back to the government. The solution they've got with the lockdowns, it's a short-term goal, not really looking at the long-term thing, right? They're thinking about, oh, people are dying right now, so everyone should just stay inside. But that doesn't really, do you know what I mean? But like, obviously, I'm not a scientist, I'm not an MP. Like, these men get paid hundreds of thousands to do their job. They should be the one coming up with the right solutions, because other countries have done it. Other countries have managed to do the COVID situation in completely different, right? And they've been so successful with it. So why aren't we? Right? So it's very disappointing in that sense. But obviously, numbers wise, the numbers for people who are going to be suffering from mental health, even people who are going to die from it, either it's just they struggle so much and it takes a toll on them, or taking their lives, those numbers are going to grow. Even domestic violence, right? So how bad does it have to get for until the government actually make that part of their numbers that they show us in relation to the numbers of death? So it is quite scary when you look at it that way. What else did he speak about? Basically most of the comments that he said, I just found it like a bit, because I was thinking, like, you can't be saying stuff like that because you got a platform and you've got quite a big fan base, and you can't be speaking that wild without really thinking about how some people will take that, because some people have lost both parents to COVID. Like I took, like, my girlfriend's got COVID right now, my dad's got COVID, my brother's got COVID. I've been lucky, fortunate enough, not to have it, even though I'm in the same household. But do you know what I mean? This thing is out there, and people are genuinely suffering from it. So for you to pretend as if this thing is not an issue, is quite concerning. And the best example I can give is with the whole stop and search situation in London, right? Since it's your community, Poet, is this is a system that was put in place because so many people or families had lost their kids, grandsons, right? And asked the police to do something to stop this gang wars or gang violence or knife crime that was on the rise in London. Even though this system is flawed in relation to more black people get stopped or more black men get stopped by the police, right? But 7 times out of 10 they find a knife or they find this. But obviously the 3 times out of 10, you're gonna have nothing on you, right? And obviously we're allowed to be frustrated. Mostly someone saying, oh yeah, you look like a suspect, whatever. But that is obviously a formula that they've been using or they've stuck to, yeah, which is not really perfect, but it's doing something, right? And if there was a level of that, like a level like that of consistency from Boris, like I would like to think things would be different. But this whole, one leg in, one leg out sort of, leadership that we're getting from him is, I'm not really surprised that people have lost faith in the government. But it's still quite selfish in relation to even the videos I saw of New Year's Eve, just house parties, people, full of people, right? Full of people. Even venues, there's a church, like, I had like a rave in it. Just so selfish. Like, the only time, it seems like the only time that we come together is when there's a tragedy, right? In relation to the whole Black Lives Matter movement, going back to the whole George Floyd thing, I think that was genuinely the only time that I saw people come together for a good cause. But in relation to this, I get that the government have been such a bummer in relation to how they have put out information or the contradictions that are consistently coming out. But we need to do better. And people like Poet needs to do better as well, because you need to know that you've got a platform and you've got a responsibility to not say wild things, because there are genuinely going to be people out there that are going to listen to you. And I don't doubt that's what he thinks, but like I said, there's two sides to a coin, right? So as much as you feel so strongly that COVID is not the biggest issue, like I said, or the guy that punched him in the face is more dangerous than COVID, because come on now. What's it going to take for you to lose half of your family to COVID for you to be like, okay guys, stay inside? The whole point is we don't want it to, these doctors don't want it to get to that point. Do you know what I mean? Until, everyone realizes that there's a problem. Anyway, so just a quick, the next one is going to be about 2020. Just, I guess, sort of on a similar lane. Like 2020 for me has been more about gratitude and being thankful and just appreciating what I have rather than focusing what I don't, because I know there's so many people out there that are struggling. Even like the number of like people that are now homeless has doubled, because people that had part-time jobs in relation to being a bartender or waitress or waiter, like all these part-time jobs where they could do that whilst they're doing whatever they're doing on the side in relation to freelancing, they're genuinely suffering because they've not been able to have any form of income. But for me, I've been so lucky to the point where my life hasn't really stopped. I've managed to work throughout the whole COVID situation. So yeah, like 2020 for me has been about just being so grateful about life, about everything, about family, everything around me. Because I know there's so many people in way worse situations. But yeah, no, just about reflection really. But obviously, yeah, there was a whole lot of sad things that happened, this year. I'm listening to even Pop Smoke dying, and obviously, there was a statement released about 4 or 5 suspects in relation to Pop Smoke's murder. 2 of them are gonna get the death penalty. But it's just sad, man. Like, and obviously the whole Kobe Bryant and his daughter, dying in a helicopter accident. It's just been a very bad year, very bad year. But yeah, man, just be grateful. Hopefully 2021 is better. We hopefully hopefully it's better for all of us, and whatever you need, whatever you want, whatever you have wished for, hopefully we get, and hopefully the whole vaccine things that happen right now, we can get back to normal as quickly as possible. I think we all need it. But yeah, no. And also music wise, just leave it on a high. My artist of the year is gonna be Abracadabra. Like, I've literally followed this guy from for a while, for a very long time. So consistent. He's worked on his craft. Like, I remember when people used to get on him for not really having his own singles, etc. Like, he's always jumping. Their criticism was always he always jumps on other people's features, etc. But yeah, he's got his own album and did really well. I think he's gonna be one to watch for 2021. People had predicted it's gonna be Dutch Valley, but we all know what happened with that. So, but yeah, no. So hopefully 2021 is gonna be better for everybody, because, like I said, I think we all need it. We've all been still for a while. But yeah, and also, like, do you know what's so mad as well? Why I'm so pissed off? Because when it came to New Year's Eve, like, me and my girlfriend, because obviously couldn't go anywhere or whatever because of the whole COVID thing, so jumped in the car, riding around the block and chasing fireworks. So if the next road had doing fireworks consistently, we'll drive around and just sit there, just watch him. Like, this is how sad 2020 has been. Yeah. And then I'm seeing people in house parties, just people couldn't even move because the stairs were full. It was mad. So here's me with my girlfriend chasing fireworks. Do you know what I mean? We just need to be more responsible, whatever that means to you. But if not, fine everyone. Double the bloody fines. Do you know what I mean? Because I find it so weird as well, how the government are charging the people that own the venues $1,000 or whatever it is, but not really penalizing the people that have attended the. Do you know what I mean? It's quite strange. But anyway, peace. Stay safe.